time. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Hi, Tim.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
He's back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion. And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
What a weekend for Oregon men's and women's basketball. Congratulations, Dana Altman, Kelly Graves, and the Ducks on what was truly an historic weekend for a lot of different reasons. We'll go through some of the numbers, put it in context exactly what it all means, but in the context of this season, it puts both teams back in the national conversation. Not that they weren't there before, but certainly for the Oregon women's team, I think they're going to probably appear in the next top 25 that will come out from the Associated Press next week. That's after 2 top 10 wins for Kelly Graves' squad. What do you know? They got a full-strength roster. Start to win a few more games. Makes sense. And meanwhile, for Oregon men's basketball, coming off a historic road trip where they beat 2 top 5 teams in Southern California. Number 3 UCLA last Thursday, and then, of course, in the late game on Saturday, number 5 USC. The Ducks led wire to wire in that game, took care of business, and it's the first time since 1976. Yeah, first time since 1976 that a team has won back-to-back road games against top 5 opponents. And I thought that this was interesting. Talking with Coach Altman on the postgame show, he said, yeah, this gets us back in the conversation. That's great. The Ducks are showing up now on the bubble or just inside the bubble in a lot of NCAA tournament projections as we're getting in toward the month of February. That's when, it starts to kind of come out. The NCAA tournament starts in, can you believe it, a little less than 2 months from now. So we're starting to get into that nitty-gritty period. But what it does in the context of the season is it puts the Ducks back into the conversation. And again, as Dana Altman said to me on the postgame show, this gets us back into the conversation because the Ducks had some games in the months of November and December that they would like back. Well, maybe this makes up for some of that. However, the Ducks want to be the team that is in the top 25, is in the top 10, is in the top 5. Well, the Ducks are now getting back toward being the hunted rather than the hunter. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing to think about, that these are 2 programs now that are sort of back where they want to be. And boy, what does that say about Oregon athletics that we're sitting here celebrating some quote-unquote upsets, and we're feeling like, well, they don't really need to feel like upsets. And they shouldn't feel like upsets because it's Oregon doing it. Man, what a cool thing, right? What a cool concept to be thinking about. We'll talk about that historic weekend. Going to hear from Dana Altman, Davion Harmon, Kelly Graves, and Tahina Paopao. Also, some good news for Oregon's indoor track and field squad, men's and women's tennis. They're getting back underway. And for Oregon women's golf, a heck of an honor as well. We do have some unfortunate news before we talk about the good news. The Washington State game for the men that was originally scheduled for Thursday has been postponed due to COVID protocol within the Cougars program. Every effort will be made to reschedule the game. Rescheduled date will be announced when finalized. Tickets and parking purchased for the original date will be valid for the rescheduled date. So right now, no men's basketball game for the Ducks on Thursday, which is unfortunate, 1, because the Ducks would like to play the game, but 2, Oregon's on a bit of a roll right now, and now the way that the schedule stacks up, they actually don't play until Sunday evening against Washington at 7 o'clock. So the Ducks have to wait an awful long time. Going to have to maintain that momentum now. I think that's going to be a big key for the Ducks. All right, so the men beat number 3 UCLA on the road in overtime. Then the women beat number 7 Arizona in overtime. The men then beat number 5 USC on the road on Saturday evening. And the women won big in Big Monday against number 10 UConn. We can check back to 1990 to 2000. And since then, no other school has had 4 wins over AP top 10 opponents, men and women combined, over a span of 5 days or less. And you go back even further to that Oregon State men's game, well, it was really impressive. The Ducks have now combined to go 5-0 against last year's Elite Eight squads, against teams that appeared in last year's Elite Eight. The men's and women's teams have combined to go 5-0 in an 8-day stretch. The Ducks are one of 3 teams ever to win 3 straight games against Elite Eight teams from the previous season on the men's side. It hasn't happened very often. One of 3 teams ever to win 3 straight games against Elite Eight teams from the previous season. By the way, go back to having 4 wins over AP top 10 opponents in the men and women's seasons combined. The previous shortest span for a school to have 4 wins over AP top 10 opponents was Louisville over an 8-day period from March 31st to April 7th. Well, you can see, though, that was in postseason play, right? The fact that this happened in the regular season is really an oddity. And in 2013, their men's team beat number 6 Duke, the women beat number 1 Baylor, and number 10 Tennessee, and number 6 Cal. That was all in the NCAA tournament, though. This, for the Ducks, happened in the regular season, which makes it even more awesome, to say the least, which is a fun thing to talk about. So for men's basketball, that USC game, the Ducks led wire to wire. And Folly Dante didn't have a good game. He had a great game. Dante did. And I got to say, he couldn't be answered by USC. And Folly Dante was outstanding for the Ducks. And that's after he played 31 minutes against UCLA, which was a season high. Getting in better shape has been a key for Dante, and, well, it looks like he's been able to do that. Will Richardson also a career high in this game against USC. Will Richardson is the Pac-12 Player of the Week after Oregon's upset, if you can call them that, wins against UCLA and USC. 28 points, a career high on 9 of 15 shooting against USC. Also had 4 rebounds and 4 assists and 2 steals in 32 minutes. And he played with a bunch of foul trouble against UCLA, and the Ducks still were able to manage his minutes, and boy, did he hit some big shots, particularly down the stretch against UCLA. Will Richardson, I think, was cold on the bench and came out and didn't show it. Was red hot, hit some big shots down the stretch. And Frank Kepnong talking about this USC game, how about the 4 blocks that he had? Frank the Tank doing some big things coming off the bench. He was 2 of 2 from the floor, but 0 of 2 at the free throw line, had 3 rebounds in 14 minutes, 4 blocks, huge blocks, protected the rim against a very physical USC team. And frankly, USC had Oregon's number over the last few years, and it's been because the defense has turned up. Well, Frank Kepnong sure spun that around on its head with the weekend that he had. And the Ducks are the first Pac-12 team since the conference expanded to 8 teams prior to the 64-65 season to sweep a conference road trip against a pair of either top 5 or top 10 opponents. Wow. First time since the 60s. So this is literally never happened before, that in the Pac-12 conference, you get a road trip sweep against 2 top 10 or, for that matter, top 5 opponents. The Ducks are also the first Pac-12 team since the start of the 80-81 season and just the 12th Division I team to have wins in consecutive regular season games against AP top 5 opponents. The last team overall to do it was Michigan State. It happened last year. But of the 11 teams prior to do it, none of them are located in the Pacific time zone. Ducks did something historic. Now, that note includes home games, right? But the Ducks are just the 3rd team in NCAA history to beat top 5 opponents on the road in back-to-back games. Clemson did it in 1976, and Iowa did it in 1965. Get this. The Tigers won at number 5 Wake Forest on January 17th, 1976, and at number 2 Maryland, January 21st, 1976. The Iowa Hawkeyes in 1965 beat Indiana on January 18th, and then despite there being 11 days in between these 2 games, they beat UCLA on January 29th, 1965. They had an 11-day gap between games, but they won back-to-back road games against top 5 opponents. Pretty impressive. So the Ducks are the first team since 1976 to pull that off. And I don't care if Oregon is undefeated or winless. You go on the road and beat 2 top 5 ranked opponents, that's impressive. And the fact that it's only happened 3 times makes it that much more impressive. And how about the storybook day against UCLA for Dana Altman? 700th career win against Dana Altman, or for Dana Altman, I should say, against UCLA. And the Ducks got him win number 701 at the Division I level against USC with those back-to-back top 5 wins. So the big picture, the Ducks are back in the title hunt and absolutely on the bubble. The Ducks were 91 in the net rankings going into the UCLA game, and at last check, Oregon is now up to 58th in the net. That is a crazy jump, one of the bigger ones that I've ever seen, particularly this late in the season, right? As we start to kind of get into the nitty-gritty report, if you will. That's what the Ducks have done. They've gotten right back into the NCAA tournament conversation. And frankly, they're in the conversation for the Pac-12 championship despite those 2 losses in December by a combined 5 points. And I still say, who knows what happens if Eric Williams is able to play, if the Ducks are full strength. I don't know. And that Arizona State game, by the way. But it's a crazy jump, and it's a good thing for the Ducks. Now, again, if you're just joining us, Washington State was scheduled to play here on Thursday, but the men's basketball game against Wazoo, scheduled for this Thursday at Matthew Knight Arena, has been postponed because of COVID-19 protocol within the Cougars program. Every effort will be made to make up that game. Tickets and parking purchased for the original date will still be valid for that rescheduled date. We'll have it for you once the conference and the teams figure out when to play. That means the Ducks are going to have to wait until Sunday to keep this momentum going against Washington in that 7 o'clock tip-off at Matthew Knight Arena on Sunday. We've got more women's basketball to come. Going to hear from Dana Altman. And how about Will Richardson, just real quick before we hear from Coach Altman. Career-high 28 points against USC. Pac-12 Player of the Week. Richardson started the week with 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal over Oregon State on Monday. Then he got a, incredible victory with his Ducks against UCLA for win number 700 for Dana Altman. 16 points, came up huge down the stretch after he was limited with those 4 fouls. He scored 5 of the Ducks' final 11 points against UCLA, and this is the second time that Will Richardson has been the Pac-12 Player of the Week. He's a preseason first-team all-conference guy, and I have a feeling that he's going to show up on that postseason first-team all-conference as well. When we come back, let's hear from Dana Altman, some of his thoughts following a historic weekend for the Ducks, and we have a lot more to talk about on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Oregon men's basketball coming off a historic weekend, as is Oregon women's basketball. We're going to talk with both of those head coaches coming up on tip-off Tuesday. And, man, Mike Menega, I got to tell you, Oregon assistant coach, he's going to be with us for tip-off Tuesday this afternoon. You can watch the show live 2:30 to 3:30. Tune in across the Oregon Sports Network, 7 o'clock tonight. GoDucks.com/OSN for all the info on where to tune in, where to watch. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, your phone, computer, tablet. can also listen on the Oregon Sports Network podcast if you want the on-demand section. But Coach McMenigo was awesome. We actually recorded with him this morning, and he had a little bit of fun putting into perspective just what was going on in 1976, the last time that a team won back-to-back games on the road against top 5 opponents. He had some fun with that. Ducks will not play on Thursday against Washington State. COVID protocol within the Cougar program, but Dana Altman pretty happy after his Ducks got a really nice win against USC, a team that has given them problems in recent years, particularly last year. USC won both the meetings, including the Sweet 16 matchup, and it wasn't that close. Dana Altman talking with the media postgame.
Dana, Davion was saying how much more connected the team is now compared to what it was earlier in the season, even just a couple of weeks ago. Does 22 points off 13 turnovers tonight kind of typify how different this team is?
James, there's no doubt that the connection is so much better. I mean, they're talking in huddles. Will's giving us some leadership there, keeping everybody focused, and the inbounds plays, the connection there where we're not giving up easy baskets. Everybody, thinking about what their responsibilities are, and so I don't think there's any doubt we're more connected. If we'd have rebounded the ball a little bit better on the defensive end, which was the only stat that we got hurt on, they had 21 second chance points. And that was 15 offensive rebounds. So that really hurt us. But other than that, I thought our defensive activity was really good. Our ball movement at times was good. We had a few bad possessions there. I think we got a little fatigued at the end of the game, but for the most part, I thought our connection was much better. Yes.
And how much is your defensive performance impacting your offense the last couple of games? It feels like offensively, you guys are really good too.
Well, as James said, we got 22 points off their turnovers. I think we got some transition buckets there off those turnovers, but our guys are just playing harder. I wish, I could act like we invented something here. We're just playing so much harder than what we did. And I don't know if that's just guys, coming together, but the leadership is definitely part of it, because since Christmas, Will's been phenomenal in that area. Eric's picked it up. Davion and Jacob have had a little sense of urgency here. Dante's gotten a little better shape, which really has helped him. And so, I just think we're playing a lot better because we're playing harder.
When you look at the stat sheet, Eric Williams isn't someone that you would really pick out as someone as like one of the top players of the game. But when there's a big play, whether on offense or defense, he's usually around the ball. Can you put into words what the value that he brings to your team right now?
Well, I know he had a big three. I think they got it down to 9 or something there, but he had a big three when we were struggling a little bit there. But no, I like his activity defensively. He's got a good feel for the game. I think he can play a little harder. I think there's more there. He's a really good athlete, and it sometimes just doesn't use his athleticism, but his instincts are pretty good. And I agree. He made some good plays, big plays. They're not against UCLA, even though he didn't shoot it good. And he made some big plays again tonight.
Yeah, Dana, you've been doing this for a long time, so you've seen some things. I mean, put in perspective just kind of what it's like to be able to go on a road trip and take down 2 top 5 teams in 3 days, and just kind of your perspective on what that's like.
Well, winning on the road is fun. There's no doubt about it. It really brings the team together. We've been fortunate because we've had good players. We've had a good road team. I think if you check the numbers, we're probably as good as anybody in the league over the course of time. And so, I hope we can continue to improve our defense, because that'll travel. I hate to use a cliche there, but it does travel. We held UCLA to 39%, and they shot 41% tonight. And if we can keep it around that number rather than 46, 47, 50, it makes a tremendous difference. And, the first half, they shot 38%. Second half, they moved it up a little bit. Like I said, I thought we got a little fatigue there, but you hold somebody under 40%, you're really doing a good job defensively.
Danny, you talk all the time about you've been doing this 40, 41 years. You've seen a lot. Even you haven't seen this. The last team in America who's done this in a 5-day span was 46 years ago in 76. Put in perspective how big this week was, how big this weekend was, where you obviously understand the big picture and you got as big a jolt as anyone has seen in college basketball in generations.
Well, we needed a big week. That our guys knew that. I've been talking about a sense of urgency, since the Baylor game. Before that, fellas, we can't bury ourselves any further. We still don't have any room for error. It's January 15th and you're already talking about, you don't have any room for error. You got to bring it every night. That sense of urgency is going to have to come every night. And so it's 42 years, and you're right, I haven't seen anything like it. And, we needed it, man. We needed something, to jumpstart us, and 3 road wins, this week. Now we go home, but I told the guys, being at home doesn't do anything for us if we don't take care of it. We won 3 road games this week. And if you look, I was looking at games, there's a lot of road teams won today, you still got to take care of business at home, and those teams don't care what we did this week. They're coming in Thursday, Sunday, I believe, Tuesday, whatever. And, we're going to have our hands full at home. So we got to get back, get better, take tomorrow off, but then get back to work. And we still got a lot of room. That's the exciting thing, guys, is I still think we've got so much room to grow into. I really do. I think our execution can get so much better. The connection offensively can get better. The connection defensively can get better. I'm excited because I still think we got room to grow.
Dana, the last 4 wins, Dante's been averaging almost a double-double for you guys. Could you just put into perspective the importance of his play, even though it doesn't get the attention that a Will or Eric or Jacob has been getting?
Well, it should, because he and Frank gave us a big presence today. We had 6 block shots. Dante had 2 and Frank had 4. We haven't done that, guys. Our defense inside at the rim has not been good. This is by far the most that teams have finished inside on us in a long time. And so those 2, manning up and getting 6 blocks, I thought was huge. I mean, it gave them something to think about. And I thought Dante and Frank really gave us a big lift. I thought they did a tremendous job inside. We got to get Dante the ball more as he gets in shape more. We will, and play through him a little bit more. But, those 2 guys, Frank with 4 blocks and Dante with 2. And then between them, they were 8 for 9 from the field. They did have 3 turnovers, but you go 8 for 9 from the field, you say you take those turnovers, you're still 8 for 12. And so I thought Dante made some nice passes. We didn't finish them all the time, but I thought he made some nice passes out of the post.
Pretty good stuff there, talking about a couple guys that have been valuable for the Ducks. So the 4 blocks from Frank Kepnong, 6 total. Dante's minutes have increased. The Ducks can finally play a little bit more in the post, and they can defend in the post. That's a good sign for the Ducks moving forward. Big weekend for men's basketball. Got some from Davion Harmon coming up. Also women's basketball, big win against UConn yesterday off that big win against Arizona. Good weekend for Oregon basketball. Going to keep talking about it on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you. Going to talk women's basketball coming up after that huge weekend against Arizona and UConn. Hear a little bit from Davion Harmon. As for the Ducks on the men's side, beat a really good USC team. Davion Harmon wasn't here for the two losses that the Ducks suffered last year, but boy, he was a contributing piece to the Ducks beating USC this go-round. Davion Harmon met with the media post-game.
This is a historic sweep for you guys, Davion, beating two top 5 teams. You know, what was your confidence level and thought process when you guys boarded that plane for LA a couple days ago?
What Altman says every day: swing away, swing away, swing away. That's what he says every single day, practice, game, in the film room. So that was kind of the model that he had for us coming in when we got here. We got here Wednesday night, was swing away. So we did that. Got a big win against UCLA, and then came out 5 for 40 minutes against a great team. And man, it came out with a win, man. It's a great road trip. This team's been through a lot. If you ask anyone, probably anyone didn't think that we could win these 2 games, and we showed that we did.
You guys are obviously playing the best basketball of the year right now. It's a simple question, but what's been the biggest difference? I mean, is it you guys gelling off the field, off the court more, or is it something you're doing on the court that's really made the biggest difference for you?
Man, we're just connected. We're just connected. That's what we didn't have in November, in the early part of December. Just being connected, staying together through ups and downs, even when teams make a run. UCLA made a run on us. They made a couple runs. USC made a couple runs on us tonight. Just staying together through those runs, man, and just keep pushing, man. Keep playing hard. Keep sticking to what we do, sticking to what we know, and believing in each other. And the trust that we have in each other has really grown over the last couple months. And just so proud of these guys. So proud of the way that we're competing right now. We just got to keep it going.
What do you mean by connected? I mean, is it defensive communication? Is it understanding and accepting offensive roles for everybody? I mean, everybody's kind of gone through different spurts where when things were really rough, Eric was the only guy scoring in double figures. He goes to the bench and wasn't contributing much. Then he's on fire. Will's taken on a whole different level. You were in a sluggish moment. Now you're on fire again the last 5-6 games. What does it mean to be connected?
Man, what that means is I think it's pretty simple with us. The attitude, energy, and connection. And we've been putting all 3 together. And that connection part is really just on the same page, on the defensive end, on the offensive end, but especially on the defensive end. If we're connected, all 5 on defense, man, it makes the offensive end that much better, that much easier for us. So we got guys in here that can score the ball, as you guys know. But defense is where it starts. So our connection on defense, staying together, just trusting each other that you're going to have my back when I got yours. Yeah. That's what we're starting to do, man. It's pretty easy, pretty simple definition when it comes to being connected, and that's what we're doing. And like I said, I'm just happy that we're going back to Eugene with two top 5 wins, and we got 4 at home, so we got to take care of that.
Davion, could you put into context the importance of Dante's play the last 4 games? He's essentially averaging almost a double-double for you guys.
Man, Dante's playing huge, man. When he's playing like that, he's playing strong. And as Coach Altman says, he's bending his knees. When he bends his knees, man, he's he's 6'11", 7 foot, huge body. He's just playing so strong around the rim. He's been active on the defensive end, blocking shots, moving, helping. That's big for us. I mean, anytime you got a 7-footer doing that, it makes the job for us guards pretty easier. So he's got to keep him going, keep that confidence in him. He's doing great. And we're just going to keep pushing, man, keep having fun. And I'm just ready to get back to Eugene and get back to working. It was nice talking to you guys, but we got to fight.
I love that. Just nice talking to you guys, but we got to fight. That's Davion Harmon. Good stuff. And the Ducks, he mentioned 4 at home. We hope that it's going to end up being 4 at home. Thursday's game against Washington State this morning announced it's postponed due to COVID protocol within the Washington State program. Announcement on a date still to come. But Davion Harmon with a lot of good things there. Talking about the strength of N'Faly Dante, I do think that's been a big key. See a couple questions coming in about Niara Sabally. I will tell you that as we transition now to women's basketball, Kelly Graves did sit down with Terry Johns for Tip-Off Tuesday this morning. That's coming up at 2:30 this afternoon. If you watch the show live on the Oregon men's and women's basketball social media channels as well as the Go Ducks YouTube, you can also tune in via the Oregon Sports Network podcast, goducks.com/OSN for all the different ways to watch. We hit a lot of different platforms with our various programming. The good news is from Coach Graves' conversation this morning that it didn't seem like it was too serious, but that was the update from him this morning. But we'll know more, I think, as the week progresses. But it sounds like at least the initial indications from postgame and today are that she's going to be okay. Ducks, of course, coming off a huge win against number 7 Arizona in overtime. Boy, it was fun at Matthew Knight Arena for that game winner from India Rogers, huh?
To inbound, trying to cover up Paopao. Goes to Sedona. Getting it back, Rogers. Trying to go baseline. Does. Dishes back out. Parries for 3. No good. Rebound. Rogers back up and in. And in with .4 to go. Rogers after the tip from Sedona Prince. Inbound. Yaney shoots. No good. Ducks have come back from 17 down to win.
Terry Johns and Bev Smith on the call. You got to love it. The team is certainly growing. Oregon trailed 54-37 with 1:40 left in the third quarter. Outscored Arizona 31-12 in the next 11:40 of regulation. Dia Barnes has been reprimanded by the Pac-12 for her post-game comments criticizing officials, and the Ducks did it in front of Sabrina Ionescu. A little bit of a slow start, too, against UConn, but the Ducks ran away. After the Ducks got down 10-0 to UConn, Oregon really put them away. Niara Sabally did go down in the fourth quarter, had to be helped off, but it seems like it won't be that serious. At least that's the early indication after the Ducks' 72-59 win over UConn that saw Tahina Paopao score 22 points. Not too bad, huh? And I think Sedona Prince coming off the bench did some really good things. 14 points. Did also have 5 rebounds. Kylie Watson had 6 rebounds, and the number that you love to see for Tahina Paopao, how about 8 rebounds to go with those 22 points? Really impressive victory in front of Ruthie Hebard. How about that? Ruthie Hebard was there as well. So we saw Sabrina Ionescu for one, Ruthie Hebard for the other. The Ducks are now 2-2 against teams from last year's Final Four. The Ducks have played every single team that was in the Final Four last year. And they're 2-2 against them, and the Ducks are squarely back in the national conversation. Now that they're healthy, you see how effective they can be. When we come back, we're going to hear from Kelly Graves, the Oregon women's basketball head coach, his thoughts after what was a wild weekend for Oregon basketball here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
These are the sounds of a dinner. A dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Big weekend for Oregon basketball. Some history that we've been talking about, and Kelly Graves, the Oregon women's basketball head coach, he had a lot to say post-game, recapping the victory over UConn from yesterday, as well as that win over Arizona. A lot of good things for the Ducks. They are back into the national picture and up in the top 15 in the net rankings now, which is great to see. Ducks hoping that the committee will take a look and say, yeah, they were banged up, they were hurt for some of these losses early in the season. Now it looks like they're starting to fire on all cylinders. Awesome environment at Matthew Knight Arena as well. Kelly Graves met with the media post-game.
Well, opening thoughts. I mean, first of all, hats off to UConn, man. They battled all the way to the end for 40 minutes. They were a little bit shorthanded tonight, obviously. We know what that's like. We've been there. But they played their butts off. And, so hats off to them. But by the same token, I really thought tonight, especially after that initial 10-0 run of the game, I thought we were really, really good at both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. That's about as good a defense as we've played. So, for a good portion of this game, and then add the last game, the last quarter and a half, we've really shown that we can be a defensive team as well. So really good effort, really proud of them. We showed a lot of heart and character. We executed well. This was a really good win, you guys. UConn is the standard by which every program is judged over the last 25 or 30 years. And to beat them anytime, regardless of the circumstances, is always a feather in the cap of your program.
Kelly, what's the initial word on Niara, and how much in the last 5 minutes there when she's out is just what's going through your mind and the general concern for her? And, it kind of dampens things, I'm sure, a little bit.
Yeah, it does. As loud as that place was at times tonight, it got really quiet there for a couple of minutes. I think she's going to be fine. You never know on those things. She's not with a doctor right now, so that's a good sign. Just something she's had to live with. Kind of each and every day she gets it tweaked. There's a little swelling. She just shows a lot of heart and keeps showing up and keeps doing it. So I'm just hopeful that she's well. And that it was just kind of a scare more than anything.
Coach, 4 points and 6 boards for Kylie Watson, but she had the highest plus minus of any bench player. Can you speak to just how important she was to your success tonight?
I'm glad you brought that up. I thought Kylie was terrific tonight. And, she's been practicing well, and some games just worked better for her. We knew we were going to need her tonight because they had such a formidable front line. and she came in and delivered. I'm really happy for her. She gives us energy, got a few key rebounds too in that third quarter and fourth. So yeah, good for Kai. We need it. And I think this weekend overall, even though we kind of played a little small ball over the last couple of weeks, I think our bigger lineup actually was the most effective for the weekend. And so that's good. If Kai continues to play like that, then that gives us some depth inside.
Coach, your thoughts on Tahina's play, not just today, but the last three. I think 22 points per game in those three, shooting over 50 from the field and from three. She seems like I know this is a level you expect her to play at, maybe at her best. Kind of speak to how she's gotten to this point, I guess.
Well, through hard work and a belief in herself. I mean, she's, still not 100%, but boy, she plays with a love of the game and passion, and she's obviously very skilled. And I just love her confidence. I mean, she knows she's a great player, and she's going out and proving it. Certainly proved it this weekend against two top 10 teams, combined for 46 points on really good shooting. And more than that, really great leadership. How many assists did she have tonight? She had 3 assists, but only 1 turnover. And she's been the Tahina that we were hoping and expecting, and obviously missed for a couple of months.
Yeah, Coach, you played a lot of 3-2 zone today. What did you like about that?
Well, it kind of, they kept posting us up, their Ducharme on our smaller guards. We do have some smaller guards, and that kind of hurt us. And it just seemed like we were able to scramble more. I think we're better when we're just active with our hands and our feet and running around and making things happen. We're long inside, so we get a lot of tips. And it was just working. They didn't have, obviously, all their dead eyes playing tonight. And sometimes they had to go with a bigger lineup with less shooters. And so we just felt that our zone would give them some trouble, and it did for a good portion of the game.
I don't want to force you into any comparisons here, Kelly, but even among your big three and top players you've had in the past, there's just seems to be something different about Tahina, from like her bag, her first step, the moves that she has. I mean, have you had a player like her where that's just instant offense at any point? If you fall in a 10-0 hole, she can get you out of it?
Well, I've been blessed to have coached two of the greatest we've seen in the college game, and Sabrina and Courtney Vandersloot. I would put Tahina, not yet, but I think Tahina has the same kind of ability to put herself in that conversation with them. She just has supreme confidence in herself and in her teammates. And, and she's, when she's on, she's an electric player. She can shoot it. I'd still like to see her, set others up a little bit more, but man, I'll tell you what, she's just got the it factor, game on the line. She's the one you want the ball in her hand. She's going to make a play. That's what we were missing for quite a while. It's just someone that could make plays. And she's showing. She certainly showed this week.
Kelly, I know hindsight is 20/20, but how do you balance knowing that this is UConn? They can make a run at any point, regardless of how much of a lead you guys have, with making sure you take your starters out and give them a rest, especially after an OT win on Saturday. How do you balance that, especially with knowing what happened with Niara?
Yeah, AJ, that's one of the reasons I'm really proud of this team. To have that emotional overtime win, the comeback, the game-winning shot, and then to follow that up 2 nights later and play UConn. I mean, to be able to compartmentalize, the way they did and put that past them and move on, I think shows some real maturity for what's still a pretty young team. And so listen, kudos to them for that. I think, this was an enormous weekend. This hopefully puts us back in the national discussion as a team to be reckoned with. These are 2 quality wins. And, I think people had kind of forgotten about us for a while, and rightfully so. But really, if you look at our schedule, this was the 4th game we've played against last year's Final Four teams. We played every single one of them. Doesn't happen very often. And we ended up going 2-2 in those games. So we're still a work in progress. We're nowhere near as good as we can be, but we're going to keep trying to get better.
Hey, Kelly, I think at one point in the second quarter, Sedona had
10 straight points. I think she had 12 total in that quarter. Just, I mean, how much of an impact is that when she's really clicking like that?
Well, huge, because you see she's not just productive, she's kind of a cheerleader out there too. She talks, she organizes us, she gets the crowd involved. She had a hell of a weekend, you guys, and I think we got to see glimpses of how good she can really be. She's done well coming off the bench. That hasn't been an issue with her at all. She's bought into it and really given us a spark. So I'm really happy for her. There's a lot of pressure on that young lady. Everybody knows her. Everybody wants a piece of her. She's got her detractors out there, and she's got those that love her. So a lot of eyeballs on her, and for her to deliver in these kind of moments, especially tonight on a national TV stage, I think shows what kind of a character-filled young lady she is.
I was wondering, throughout this journey that this season's already been for you guys, with everything that's happened, what's it been like in terms of keeping the team's spirits up? And if you could maybe talk a little more, you mentioned earlier just the coming back from such an emotional game against Arizona. That game got a lot of attention, because of it wasn't very friendly afterwards. I wonder if you could just address that and how you think that impacts the team going forward.
I don't know which part of that, Michelle. I think whatever happened after, I think it's kind of been blown up, to be honest with you. I don't think it was anything more on either side that competitors do. You know what I mean? We compete, and sometimes that's not always pretty. But no, I think that was kind of blown out of proportion.
How have you kept the team's spirits up at times this season?
Yeah, well, I'm blessed with a team that really likes each other. This is a really close unit, even though we have a lot of people, new faces. We're actually a really close unit off the court. They're really nice kids, good students, good citizens, and they get along and love each other. So that makes it, that's the only way you can get it done. And plus, I think we've been able to kind of talk about, hey, there was the first part of the season, and now this is the next phase. This, we're getting healthy. We're getting all our players. Roles have been changed a little bit, but they're starting to be defined. I look at, in that case, someone like Shania Pinto. She's not playing as much right now as she did early in the year, but she's coming in and really giving us a lift. She was huge the other night against Arizona, big again tonight. Elise Hurst, her role has changed. She was leading us in minutes until we got India and Tahina back, and now she's gone into a lesser role, but she proved her worth tonight. Great defense and hit some timely threes. So, again, I'm not sure we're going to see our best until maybe sometime into February and March because we're still growing. But I think their closeness as a unit, I think, has been able to really sustain us through what has been some difficult times.
Hey, Coach, great win tonight. Besides, obviously, Niara unfortunately going down at the end, this is one of the first games you really had your entire squad available. How did that affect the game? And, having everyone available, everyone being able to play, was that a big part of the win, do you think, tonight?
Yeah, no question. It gives us options, you guys. I think you've been able to see over the last couple of weeks in Pac-12 that we can play with a smaller lineup, spread people out. Against Cal, we make 14 threes playing that way. And then we've been able to, go with a bigger lineup, play more power basketball. We've been able to isolate different players at different times when we have matchup advantages. I thought you saw that Saturday against Arizona with Niara especially. And then I think you're seeing Sedona a lot more comfortable and maybe less pressure on her shoulders now that Niara's back. She can kind of play where she's comfortable. That's facing the basket. And so I think you just kind of putting people in the positions that they were recruited for, and it's just helped.
Kind of following with that, Kelly, on the big picture, you're one of 6 teams to pick up a third top 25 win with this one, and also that you guys have found a bit of an identity here. And you mentioned like it's a changing of roles. So how do you keep everyone bought in with it? Where when you got 2 transfers in Shannon and Taylor who didn't even play tonight, and I'm sure they very much wanted to. And players who were taking bigger roles when guys were out, and Maddie and Kylie who contributed but are in much lesser roles. but it seems like obviously there's a lot of success on the floor. Doesn't seem like people are taking issue with it, but at the same time, how do you keep them on board with that the rest of the way?
Well, that was part of the deal when we recruited them, to be honest with you, James. They came in from programs that weren't quite as good, didn't play on this kind of a stage, and they were the major piece, right? They were the best player or what everything rolled around. And so what we told them is, that's nice. You've experienced that. Now come be a piece. Come be a piece of something that could be really special. A team that can, win games in the NCAA tournament. Who knows how far we can be. So that was part of the recruitment process. We didn't promise anybody playing time coming in, but that also shows how unselfish they are and the kind of people that they are. They're going to be supportive of their teammates and fill whatever role. Listen, there's going to be a night when we're going to need them. Who would have figured that Shania Pinto comes in the other night and is as big a factor as she was, or Filipina. Filipina came in and gave us a couple of great possessions tonight. So you just never know when your number's called. You got to be ready and be able to contribute. So I'm hopeful that and confident that that's going to happen with them at some point.
Man, ain't that the truth, though? You never know when you're going to need the depth until you need it, right? Kelly Graves, after what was a great weekend for Oregon women's basketball, Oregon men's basketball, everybody winning. It's a good thing. And we haven't even talked about indoor track and field, the men's and women's tennis programs, and some news out of Oregon softball today. Going to hear a little bit from Tahina Paopao as well when we come back. It's a good time to be a Duck on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece. And it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Indoor track and field season officially underway. Going to hear from them in a moment. We're going to have Robert Johnson, I think, on the show next week is what we're aiming for, which is pretty exciting. Tahina Paopao also, just to wrap up the women's basketball front, a couple minutes from her. She's pretty good, huh? 22 points. And you heard Kelly Graves say she's got the potential to be on that same plateau of Sabrina Ionescu, Courtney Vandersloot.
Just what does this mean for you individually with all the injuries you've been through to have this kind of success and then to tie in, obviously, the team success with 2 big wins the last couple of days?
I've been in the lab every day getting better. So just being able to have my work translate onto the court, it's a great sight to see. And, I'm just going to keep working from there.
Yeah, Tahina, in the third quarter, you guys locked in on defense and you seem to start anticipating a lot of their swing passes and cheating that pass and getting a lot of steals. How do you think, you went about doing that?
It's really just the IQ of the game. They kept telegraphing their passes. So, I just read their eyes, and whenever I read their eyes, they usually pass it. So being able to read that kind of really gave me that to get like the stealer or something. I'm so sorry.
I was wondering if you could put into perspective what Kylie means to your team on a game like tonight. I mean, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but obviously you look at the plus minus, and it's clear that she brings success when she's on the floor. Yeah, for sure. Well, Kylie's a hustle player. She likes to get down and dirty. She likes to get those hustle balls. She just likes to do the dirty work, and all of our teammates like to do that too. But she just comes in and gives us that push that we need, and it helped us tonight.
I think I love the fact that a lot of these questions have to do with her defense, and yet Tahina Paopao scoring 21 points out there. Impressive stuff. Tahina Paopao and the Oregon Ducks getting a nice win against UConn and a nice win against Arizona. Ducks are back in the national conversation. We'll be talking about that through the course of the week. Meanwhile, indoor track and field season officially underway. Indoor track and field team made the most, I should say, of its season opener. 11 wins, 12 indoor personal bests, and a pretty incredible 4 top 10 program marks at the Cougar Classic. Makai Williams lowered his own school record in the 60-meter. Kevin Nelson posted NCAA leading time in the 60. Manuel Umajay, defending NCAA champion in the triple jump, opened his indoor campaign with a victory. And the Ducks, an incredible performance. A full recap available on GoDucks.com. We're going to talk with Robert Johnson after this. I think was kind of like the get loose meet. And then really the Razorback Invitational in a couple weeks is where things get interesting. Oregon men's tennis team opened its season by sweeping Boise State and downing Weber State 6-1 at the Oregon Tennis Center. Ducks are a perfect 12-0 in singles matches. Now, unfortunately, they're going to have to wait a while to play Portland State because it was set for yesterday. It's been postponed due to COVID-19 protocols, and they're going to try to reschedule the match. We'll see if they're able to do it, but men's tennis then back in action next week. Women's tennis overcame a bit of a slow start in doubles play, but they came back to win in dominant fashion against Portland State 7-0. And Courtney Nagel, Ducks head coach, said, overall, good start to the season. That's what you like to hear. Congratulations are in order for Brianna Chacon. Huge news for the All-American. Been officially invited to compete in the 2022 Augusta National Women's Amateur Championship. Let's go, Bri Chacon. And finally, Oregon softball today. They'll open the 2022 season ranked 16th in the preseason poll. Melissa Lombardi, we're going to talk with her for the first time next week on the show. Good time to be a Duck. See you for Tip-Off Tuesday.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.